Today I'm going to explain to you how to read and write file to your disk in Java. So how do you take some strings, maybe name some phone numbers, and then write them into a file in your drive C or in your documents in Java. I'm going to teach you this. Reason is because it's very easy. As a beginner, you can learn it and do it. So just follow along in this tutorial. I've set up the file using Eclipse. So this is just a new file. I just gave it a name, this. So let's just do this. Before I continue, I'd like to remind you to subscribe to my channel. So look below this video, there's a subscribe button. Click on this subscribe button to subscribe to my channel so that you kind of encourage me to make these lessons, and also you get notified when I make new lessons. So just click to subscribe now. So if you have started a new file, the first thing you want to do is to import java.io, because everything you are going to use for reading and writing the file is inside this class package java.io. So the next thing we want to do, because the first thing we want to do is to write the file in Java. All right. So before I continue, I'd like to show you this directory where I want to save this file in my drive D. Inside tutorial, I will have to remove whatever is in there, so we see that it's completely empty. So the first thing we want to do is to create a file. My file is equal to new file, and then we specify the directory you want to write the file. So the directory is tutorial. Let's call this file out.txt. Okay. So after creating a file, the next thing you want to create is an output stream object. So to do that, you simply say output stream OS. So you need to create an output stream object. OS is equal to new file output stream, and then you give it the name of the file you just created. So it's as simple as this. Okay, so now we need to just surround it with a try and catch block, which is okay. So take out this so that it doesn't confuse us. So let's change this to IO exception. Alright, good. So let's just shift this down to make some space. So the next thing we want to do is to create a print writer. A print writer will help us to write this file in such a way that it will be readable. If we don't use a print writer, most likely the file will not be readable. So let's create a print writer. pw is equal to new print writer. So these are the basic things you need to do, and just give it the output stream object you created. So let's what do we want to write? Let's just write a list of names. So I'll just say string names. Let me create an array of names that we are going to write. String names just is equal to specify one or two names. Alright, so I've created a list of string called names, right? So what I'm going to do now is to loop through these names and then write it into the file one line at a time. So to do that, I'll simply say I'll use an enhanced for loop for string item in names. So what it means is for each item in names, I want to write that item into the file. So I'm going to simply say pw.print line, and I just say item. So what's going to happen is it's going to loop through these names and write them one by one into the file. And the next thing we want to do is to just close the print writer pw.close. Alright. So I'll also like to just display an output message system that says that everything is successful. So I'm going to say file created. Alright, and written as well. Alright, so this is basically what you do, and I'm going to show my console. Let me delete this one. So if I run this code, I expect it to create this file out.txt, then also write something into this file. So I'm going to run it now, and it says file created and written. So let's go ahead to verify, and you can see out.txt. If I open it, you can see everything is written. But let me just adjust this code so that it writes it in a separate line. So I'll just say plus. I'll just add a new line character /n. So what's going to happen is going to actually remove the original file and replace it with a new file. So let's go ahead to save, and then we go ahead to run it, and it says file created and written. So if I go back and check, you see that, okay, so I'm going to refresh. Maybe I can just delete this so we can run it a second time. So we have, okay, sorry, I need to use print line. Okay, fine. Instead of print, I use print line. So at this point, if I go to check the file, you see that it prints one line at a time. So the next thing we want to do is, how do we then read this file? So I'm just going to do away with this program and create a new file. So to read a file, I'm going to do that in a new file. I'm going to say read demo. So if you are following along, that will be fine. So just check this, and then the first thing you also want to do is to import java.io.star. Alright, so in this case now, what we want to do is to use a file reader. So the first thing we want to do is to create a file reader. File reader fr is equal to new file reader. So at this point, we also want to read the same file that we created. So let me say tutorials out.txt. But at this time, I'm going to open this file and then modify it so that we'll be able to know that we are reading something. So let's say Python okay, so then the last one, Smith use. So I want to read these names and use them in my program, right? Good. So the next thing you want to create, is it giving us an error message? Okay, we need to also surround it with a try and catch, right? So take out this, and then let's use IO exception. It's always better to use IO exception when you are working with files. So shift this one downwards. The next thing we want to create is buffered reader. Buffered reader helps you to read strings from a file. Buffered reader br is equal to new buffered reader, and then you give it the name of the file reader you created, right? fr, yeah. So I'm now going to loop through this buffered reader object. So it will read line by line. So to be able to loop through, I'll simply say while, I'll use a while loop, while br.read line is not equal to null. So it means that while there is still a line to read, while br.readLine is not equal to null, right? Then I'm going to display whatever is read to the output. So I'm going to say system.out.println, and I'm going to display whatever is read. Let me call it, it's still the same br.readLine. So what is going to happen here is that it's going to read the file line by line, and until it gets to the end of the file where br is null, and it's going to stop. But so far as it's reading a line, it's going to print out this line. I'm going to save. I'm going to show my console so that we'll be able to see the output. But meanwhile, we can just close the buffered reader. It's better to always close things down. Alright, so let me show my console and I'm going to just run this. So it's saying file created and written because it's running the previous code. So I'm going to right click here and say run as Java application, and I'm going to, okay, so it tells us file not found. So the tutorials out.tsc file not found, really. So let's see. Okay, so the name is actually tutorial, not tutorials. So let's go change it. So that's why it's always good to catch the exception so that you have an idea of what is happening. So let me show my console again. I'm going to clear this error by clicking on this place. And I'm going to run it again. And you can see that it displays the content of the file. But let's open the file to see what is in there. So you see that there is, sorry about this. So we see that there is actually some problem. So I'm going to run it again. It's displaying Oleander and null. That's a problem. So let's change this system.out br.read. Okay, so let's change this br.read. I'm going to run it again. br.readline. Okay, so I'm going to run again. Okay, so readline. Okay, so let's see br.read .read. So we are reading string. So readline is correct. So it has to be readline, right? Alright, so while br.readline is not equal to null, just print out what is in this file. So you can see it's printing out what is in the file, but we're having some issue. Okay, I'm going to solve this problem in the next tutorial. I'd like to thank you for viewing, and let's look at the next part so that we solve this problem. But basically, this is how to read and write file in Java.